Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing my current bronzers and face palettes that are women of color friendly. So I have a couple of bronzers that I want to share with you guys that I have been loving recently. And I also have 3 face palettes that I have been using non-stop. So these palettes have bronzers / contour shades in them. They also have highlighters and also a couple of blushes in them as well. So if you're interested in seeing my current favorites, then let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so the first one I want to talk about is by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is the bronzer. So she just came out with new bronzers, and I've actually did a full review on this bronzer already. I'll try to leave that video down below if you guys are interested. But this is the bronzer in the shade Mahogany. Now this is the darkest shade in this bronzer, and when I first saw these bronzers in pictures, I thought they weren't going to be women of color friendly because the darkest shade did not look like it would work. So again, this is in the shade Mahogany, and it is the darkest shade. So this is what it looks like right here, and I will go ahead and swatch it for you guys as well. This is what it looks like right there. There it is, if you guys can see that. So the thing with this bronzer and with, any other bronzer that I have in my collection, they look lighter in the pan than they do when you apply it on your face, which is a good thing. So I was very, very impressed with this. So this bronzer has definitely been one of my favorites. And one thing about this is it is super, super pigmented. So you're going to want to tap your brush in there really, really lightly, because with this, it can look very muddy on the face if you use a lot of product. It's not as warm as the other bronzers that I'll be sharing with you guys in today's video, but it is a nice chocolate bronzer. Perfect for women of color. What I'm gonna actually do in this video is just put some of my foundation shades down below in the description. That way it'll make it easier for you guys, so that way you'll know if these products will work for you. So yeah, anyway, the next one I have is by Bobbi Brown, and this is in the shade Deep. So Bobbi Brown only has 4 bronzer shades. This is the darkest shade, and I've actually seen Jackie Aina use this a lot on her channel. I've always been wanting it. I just didn't want to spend that extra coin on it, but I finally caved in and got it for myself, because sometimes you need to treat yourself, and that is exactly what I did. So this is what it looks like on the inside. So let me swatch this one really quick. So there's Bobbi Brown right up under Anastasia Beverly Hills. Bobbi Brown is more of a warm tone. It's definitely warmer than the Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now this one is not as dark as ABH, and it's also not as pigmented as ABH, so you can definitely build this color up if you need to. It does have more of a red tone to it, but it looks absolutely stunning on the skin. Very warm, very beautiful, and is the perfect bronzer for my skin tone. Love that one. And next I have my face palette. So the first one I want to talk to you guys about is by Huda Beauty. This is her newer one in the shade Bronze Sand. So I've actually done a full review on this one already as well, and I'll try to remember to leave that video down below for those of you who are interested in looking at it if you have not seen it already. But again, this is Bronze Sands edition, and once you open it up, you have your highlighters and also your bronzer in here as well. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this palette because, like I said, I've already done reviews on it, but I love this palette because all of the highlighters in here look absolutely stunning on women of color. You do have a bronze, well, this is supposed to be a bronzer, this is supposed to be a blush shade, but the blush shade actually looks better as a blush topper, and then the bronzer actually looks good as a highlighter on me. So I definitely don't use it as a bronzer, I just use it as a highlighter. So pretty much all of these shades in this palette, I use them as a highlighter, and then this shade right here, I use it as a blush topper. So I'll swatch the shade in here that's supposed to be a bronzer, so that way you guys can see it. So there it is right there. And then we have this shade in here that I use as a blush topper here. And then the other 2 highlighters there, the cream highlighter. So there are those highlighters. So pretty, so beautiful for women of color, and I'm really glad that she finally came out with a palette that works for us. So love this palette, you guys. So pretty. All right, and this next palette is by Sephora. This is the Sephora Spice Market Blush Palette. I've mentioned this in, I think, a couple of recent videos. I've also used it in a tutorial, and I have been loving this, you guys. The bronzer in here is absolutely beautiful. I think this is just marketed as a blush and highlighter palette, but this shade in here, I mean, you can use it as a blush, but I use it as a bronzer, and it is gorgeous. I actually have it on my face right now. I have this whole palette on my face actually. I have a highlighter in here. I have two highlighters on, so one on my cheekbones and then one for the inner corner of my tear duct. This bronzer I have on as a bronzer, and I also use it as my transition shade for my eyeshadow, and then I have the blush on as well, so looks really good. Let me swatch the bronzer in here. Alright, so there is the bronzer. It looks very similar to the Bobbi Brown bronzer, but it has more of a red undertone. It's still really beautiful on the skin. It's not too red. Like I said, I do have it on my face right now, and I still think it looks really good. So there's that. And this palette is super pigmented too, so you are going to have to be very light-handed if you are going to be using, you know, using the shades in here. And then I'll swatch the highlighters on the back of my hand. Super pigmented and absolutely stunning. So pretty. Lighter one right here. This is the one that I have on my inner corner of my tear ducts. And also the blushes in here, which I do have a blush on. These blushes are so pretty. So freaking pretty. Definitely women of color friendly. So I'm so glad that they came out with another palette. I think they have two other ones, but they were way lighter than this one. And this one is definitely women of color friendly. All right, and the very last palette I want to share with you guys is by Bakerie, and this is the Coffee and Cocoa palette. So this palette can be a bronzer and highlighter palette. You can use it as eyeshadow. You can use it for so many different things. I've actually used this whole palette as an eye look already. This shade right here is supposed to be a bronzer, but I don't use it as a bronzer because I feel like it looks so much better as an eyeshadow. This is what I have on my eyes today, and it looks absolutely stunning. But if you have a darker skin tone, you can definitely use it as a bronzer. So there it is right there. It does have like a bronzy golden shimmer to it. Super pretty. So if you have a darker skin tone than me, I think this will look absolutely stunning as a bronzer on you. I just personally don't like it as a bronzer on me because it does have a lot of shimmer to it, but you can use it as that if you want. And then really quickly, I'll swatch the blush shade in here, the highlighter, and also this light shade. And then this highlighter in here is gorgeous. So pretty. And then the blush shade right there. Super pretty, super pigmented, and super creamy. They aren't creams, but they feel like creams. Like, they feel so buttery smooth, and this is just a really good palette to use all around. If you want to use it as a blush palette, highlighter palette, you know, bronzer palette, even as an eyeshadow palette, you can use it as that as well. All right, you guys, so those are all of my current bronzers and face palettes. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you tried out any of the products that I shared in this video and which ones are your favorites. I'm actually still on the hunt for different bronzers, so let me know which ones you guys suggest. And also remember, I do have my foundation shades down below in my description, just so if you think you are my skin tone and if you've been wanting to try any of these out, you guys will know if they work for you. But yeah, I think that is everything I have for this video. If you loved it, make sure you thumbs it up for me, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.